Good morning, pregame crew. This is Charcal Lori, and you are at the pregame show. We're going to get started in 8 minutes officially with the indices, commodities, crypto, movers, and shakers of the day. Between now and then, I'm going to say hello to my friends, do an audio-visual check, and do a couple of chart requests. Thank you, Night Truck. Buenos dias, Bennett. Let me say hello. Let me go back to the top. Hey, Greg, Night Truck, Andre, Gareth, Dublin, Mal, Luciano, Gareth. You're the second Gareth I know. My neighbor has a Gareth son. Hey, Luciano, Lori, Casey, Matthew, Whitney, Topher, Amir, ER, Paul. Hey, Maddie, Neil, and Bennett. How are y'all? Everybody good? Hey, Renee. Good day. Andrew. Perfect. Hey, Shanox, Kay. Hey, Jessica. Parkuki, that's right, we live, baby. Let me go back to the top and let's start with a few chart requests. All right, Tractor Supply. I love their Mrs. Wages salsa mix. I love Tractor Supply in general. The accent like this, you have to. We're looking for a daily high or low. We're at the key moving averages. The 50 MA is at 193.68. Let me scroll out a little more. Weekly 21 EMA is causing it a lot of fits. We do have a squeeze forming, and you see how we're just caught underneath this 50 RSI here. Multiple taps. We're just trapped below it. We need to get above the 50 RSI and 21 EMA. Key resistance 205.44 for the 4 hour. Bears are going to be top fishing a lower high compared to 203.51 on the 4 hour. And on the hourly, you have a double top here at 196.51 and 196.69. With the spread of this name, I would still call that a double top. Let's see if they can get a higher low compared to 191.92 and get closer to putting in that daily higher low. We start that with an hourly trend change. Good morning, good morning. You know you're crazy. CGC, sometimes there's technical situations where you expect a dead cat bounce. You're just waiting for these shorts to cover. I mean, my goodness. They're up 50% from Friday's pump, or what day was that? Thursday's pump. They have really dominated price, but there's a change in character. If you just stare at the L2, the level 2 on CGC, you just see them just stacking the ask and stacking and stacking and stacking with shares. This is, I don't like the word manipulation, but there's something that's just shifted. You would normally expect some type of oversold bounce. This has been controlled selling. 4 hours not even oversold. Look at that. 4 hours not oversold. I don't think we're going to get a bounce till we see that 4 hour oversold. But bottom line is you are counter trend right now with a call. Your next support is 234. You're really going to want 234 to hold, or I would think about potentially exiting if 234 is lost. If you're already down so much and you just want to see how, if it's worth a nickel right now and you say, I'm just going to YOLO, then I understand. Hey, Andrew, I don't know why the Nightbot timed you out there. I mean, can you write in italics? Is that why it doesn't like italics? I don't know. Tesla, I have no idea how low it can go. Yeah, Matthew, but it's too controlled. Look, go check out the hourly RSI and 4 hour RSI on CGC. It's just too controlled. Yeah, I can look at Coin. They had good news this morning. They were selected by such and such to do such and such. Wasn't that helpful? Let's see. Google picks Coinbase to take cloud payments with crypto. Google had an onslaught of news headlines this morning with Coin, ACN, Wayfair, Snapchat. There was another one. Can't remember. Lots of them. So looking at Coin, 65.50, 65.43, 65 43 double bottom. Nice pop on that news. If you want to look to buy a pullback, that makes sense, possibly against 69.26. Yesterday's high could serve as support. And oil is popping right now, just an FYI, on some Biden, Saudi Arabia headlines. So just be careful shorting oil up here. Market is bouncing nicely with a little dollar rollover. We have 3 minutes until we officially get started. Whitney, do you mean CCJ? Let me type it as you have it. Yeah, you mean CCJ. Hey, Mary, good morning. Okay, bulls are looking to bottom fish a weekly higher low compared to 24.66. We need to hold 24.66 in order to get a weekly higher low. Oh, I just saw something that was disturbing. See this head and shoulders right here on RSI. Again, that's just extra information. It's not directly tradable, but it's something I just put in my tool belt. And keep in mind, if I continue to see bearish action, we need to hold that 24.66. If you want to bottom fish against 25.04 or 24.66 for that weekly higher low, it makes sense. But I'd make the bulls work for it, at least get a 5-minute trend change before you invest your money. Okay, low. No, I did not get AMC yesterday. Or do you mean AMD, Slow Devil? I took a loss on AMD. I bought the dip, and if I would have held a little bit longer, it would have been in the green. It was a small loss. But I stuck to my thesis and I stuck to my actual trade plan, so I'm not upset with the loss. I buy oil itself. In futures, I buy CL or QM. There's ERY. That is an energy bear. And what's the other one, y'all? ER. I'm going to find it here real quick. ERX. ERX is a leveraged energy play. You can see it's bouncing a little bit with oil. Overall, oil has overhead problems at the weekly 50 MA that we can't forget about. Okay, I said I'd do low. Let me do low and then we'll get started. Low is looking for, hard to call this a daily higher low because we had this low over here. But that was not a true pivot. So I'm going to say we're looking for a daily higher low here at the 21 EMA. 4-hour downtrend, looking for a 4-hour lower high on any bounce. Aggressive bull could look to play bottom fish in 192.71. And aggressive bear could look to top fish 196. This is not in a good location. We want to enter in good location. Location, just like real estate. Super important on where we enter. Oh, thanks, Miguel. Y'all ready to get started? Thank you. Yeah, hit that like button. Drip and gush are for XOP. So XOP, that's oil and gas exploration. Drip and gush. Gush is the bullish leveraged ETN or ETF, probably ETN. And drip is the bearish one for XOP. Those ER ones I gave you are for energy. You have to know what you're trading. You have to know your instrument. Okay, let's get started. And I say I'm only going to show my notes once a week, and then I get into this situation where I'm like, I have too many of my thoughts. I don't want to lose them. I want to share them. My overall goal, of course, in doing the pregame show is to get you to come check out Chart Guys. However, the underlying premise of everything we do is to help people become profitable traders. And if we do that with free information, fine, absolutely fine. If we do that with community members who pay to be a part of our community, that's even better. So I'm going to show my notes today. TCG members, I'll copy and paste them over to our room when we're done. Good morning. Welcome to the pregame show. This is who I am. I'm Chart Gal Lori. You can give me a follow on Twitter at Chart Gal Lori. You can check us out at chartguys.com. If you're interested in my chart setup, you can click on the link below in the video description to receive a PDF explanation as to what all these colors are. Good morning. Yeah, hit that like button. That was the one thing I forgot to say. Hit the like button, please. So let's look at the notes. We got a lot of them. Hang Seng is down 2.23%. DAX is down 1.23%. So let me go back to my comments because Mal brought it up in our chat room this morning, and I just want to go over that again. So we had Hang Seng down tremendously yesterday. It was down over 3% or something. And not yet yesterday being last night, but as in their Monday trading, let's use days. Their Monday trading, they were down huge. And that is definitely a clue for us to look bearish. But remember, Hang Seng was closed last week, so we kicked off the trading last week. They were closed on their Monday trading. We started out our Monday trading down, and they kept following our lead. It was like follow the leader. Things got inverse. So we can typically look to Hang Seng for clues, and sometimes they act as a laggard based on who's having holidays and who isn't. But that's one fact. We were down 2.23% yesterday, and Hang Seng was, and DAX is down 0.44% overnight. And in my opinion, Hang Seng is still a little bit behind us, so I don't know that I can glean a lot of information from that. And one thing I failed to say yesterday was I talked about the Thanksgiving holiday yesterday for Canada, but not a more important holiday versus like who believes in what or who's more valuable. But the bond market being closed yesterday was huge. It was Columbus Day, or Indigenous Day, yesterday in the U.S. Banks were closed. The bond market was closed. It is hard for the market to really nail a direction when we don't have the underlying bond market operating. So in my opinion, the real price action kicks off today. It kicks off for the week today. Yesterday, if you watch the volume, it was super low liquidity in ES futures, and that we were going multiple directions. So all of that I just explained with Hang Seng trading is very nuanced. I go through all the details, and as I refine my trading processes, my goal is to get rid of data, not to add more data in. And constantly assigning a priority to the data that I'm collecting. Is this important that Hang Seng is down? Do I weight that? What kind of weight on a scale of 1 to 10? What I would say, I'd give it about a 3.5. If VIX is making higher highs on a scale of 1 to 10, I would say I give that a 7.5. Market internals, I weight about 8.5, 9. They're very important to me. And of course, price action's a 10 out of 10. So I'm constantly giving you these nuances. And the way I like to think of it is, let me go back to ES. The way I like to think of it is, if you are a fisherman, and let's say you've never fished before, and this is the analogy for a new trader, and you grab a fishing pole at Walmart that's already configured, it has a cork on it, and you go get a worm and put it on the hook, and you just throw it in the water. You have a decent probability to catch a fish, assuming you're not throwing it in bathwater. You have a decent probability or chance to catch a fish. You don't have to make it overcomplicated, but think about how your fishing evolves over time. You're like, let's look at the depth of this. This is pretty shallow, and I'm looking for white perch or whatever. I need to go to a bigger depth in order to catch the fish that I'm aiming for. Okay, the bait that I have, a worm, is better for brim, and it's not really good for bass or whatever. And you just keep refining your process, and you say, okay, what's the water temperature? Okay, it's 80 degrees. That's kind of cool for catfish, so maybe I can't catch that. Okay, and you just keep adding. What's the weather like? Is a storm moving in? My dad would haul us out to Toledo Bend in Louisiana anytime a big storm would come in, because that's when the striped bass would start hitting. And these professional fishermen, they just keep adding to their tool belt. You know, if you're a fly fisherman, you just keep tweaking it and tweaking it. It's all these nuances, these little details that make you a professional. And you're increasing your probability of catching a fish by adding all of these nuances. So I hope that's what I bring to the table, is I'm helping you uncover some nuances. Maybe you weren't looking at the temperature of the water, the forecast, or what bait you're using. And we're getting into the nitty gritty. But I promise you, if you go to Walmart and buy a small, just a regular rig, a fishing setup, you'd still catch a fish. We're just increasing the probability, refining your process. And your process must be well defined. And that's what I do here. Fishing analogies for the win. Awesome. With my digits, you can do that. Oh. Hey, Eswit, a TTM squeeze is when technically, let me draw it for you on another chart that I don't mind messing up. So we have Bollinger Bands. If I were to toggle the Bollinger Bands, well, they wouldn't look like that. They would look something like this. And then the Keltner channel measures the ATR, average true range. Bollinger Bands represent standard deviation. When those Keltner channels dip inside those Bollinger Bands, they create a squeeze. Let's see if we have a squeeze here. Squeezes can fire to the downside or to the upside, but they're marked off in these black or red or gold dots in the ones that I use. And it just basically says, we got some pressure building, folks, and something's about to burst to the upside or the downside. It doesn't indicate trend. It just says something's about to break, and it's about to break with force. You see this? See this little squeeze here? On the hourly, the larger the time frame the squeeze is on, the more follow through it should get and more volatility. So that's what a squeeze is. All right. There was my analogy. A reverse back burner day until it isn't. Bulls have so much work to do. And reverse back burner is looking for overbought conditions. I think that bears are going to get a chance to short the market on overbought conditions today. It could be a hurry up and wait day with FOMC minutes tomorrow, CPI Thursday, bank earnings after hours Thursday and Friday. Amir, not necessarily. It can. It can. So we have a lot of data coming out this week. CPI is big. So we could just be in a holding pattern until we get that data. I will say there's a special note to today. I have not seen this much news in a long time. I mean, the news this morning is tremendous, tremendous. And we have all kinds of geopolitical news this morning. I don't remember a morning where we had this many headlines. So that's kind of a counter indicator. I was thinking maybe that we would go sideways today, possibly waiting for this data. And FOMC minutes are usually a nothing burger, but in this environment, nothing's a nothing burger. Nothing is a nothing burger. So that means double negative. So in a bearish market, it can be easier to short indices versus stock picking. So I just want to show y'all every day I have these 4 names that I go over and then 4 Queen of the Mountain trades. I find myself trying to find y'all bull names in a bear market because if we're bearish, just short the indices. You don't need to go find all these individual names. Stock picking is hard. Okay, what if you were shorting dice? What if you were shorting dice this morning? I posted this in our room when it was up about 55%. What if you were shorting dice this morning because the overall market's bearish? You'd be up the creek without a paddle. What if you were shorting American Airlines this morning? Up the creek without a paddle. You'd be in trouble. So sometimes it's hard to stock pick in a market that's going down. It's just easier to short indices. When the market's going up, you can find some that are positioned better to make an outsized move. That's how I trade, and that's how I've seen it work for the years that I've been trading. So that's just a finer detail. So that's why some of my Queen of the Mountain trades are counter the market, because if we're just looking bearish today, which is where we've been pointing for a while, then just stick with shorting the indices. Bonds need to find a floor, period. I would say this is a 9 out of 10. This is an 8.5 out of 10. 8 out of 10. Bonds need to find a floor. The bond market is much larger than the equities market. It needs to find a floor in order for the market to find a floor. Dollar needs to find a ceiling. That thing needs to top out. It's starting rolling over to this morning, and that's what allowed for equities and crypto to bounce. VIX needs to find a ceiling. We need that daily lower high to stick. We're having a daily inside bar right now. We need it to roll on over Red Rover, or the pain trade continues. And it's all about the weekly 200 MA, which for me is a 9 out of 10. That's pretty important for me. So we have lots of details to go over. ES, potential 12-hour megafawn, lower low without follow through. Let's go look at this ES. So if we look at this, and I'm just going to draw it rough because I just deleted all my lines. I had them there earlier. This is rough, okay? Again, just don't be the trend line police. Just don't come for me, I'll send for you. So just chill out with the trend line police. But let's look at the overall psychology. Higher highs without follow through, lower lows without follow through. If we break through 35.71, we're right here at the weekly 200 MA. All I care about is that we close over this weekly 200 MA by Friday close of business. That's it. It can be crazy. Until then, I just need it to close over, candle close above the weekly 200 MA. And that would fit in line with us having a little bounce, coming down, getting a lower low, and then come back inside that broadening formation. As long as we come up inside the broadening formation, we'll be okay on that weekly 200 MA. Now, this last 2 sentences I've said for the last minute are probably the most important thing I've said and that I will say. It's super important for this megaphone to indeed be a megaphone on any lower low, for it not to get follow through and get back up inside that megaphone again, to give bulls a chance at bouncing. But don't get it twisted. Bears have all the power. Reverse back burner day until it isn't. All right, Nasdaq. Nasdaq, we lost this 10,890. So we lost this last Sunday's low. We lost it yesterday. Again, trendline police, don't come for me, I'll send for you. But this is some terrible trend lines that I probably need to go see somebody about. Like that's a problem. But you see the psychology. You don't need my lines there to see the psychology. Higher high, no, not a lot of follow through. Higher high, not a lot of follow through. Lower low, not a lot of follow through. Lower low, not a lot of follow through yet. Okay? So the psychology is there. So we need bulls to get their you know what out of their you know what, and let's play some defense today. We're bouncing enough to make it enough room for a potential hourly higher low, not guaranteed, compared to 10,858. 10,8, no, shoot. Hover again, 10,858. RTY. To me, this is a really important chart. We want, and again, this could be weekly bear flag. We need bulls to hold the 1647. We need them to hold 1647. We need RTY to continue to pull this bus upwards in order to provide support for the market. So let me point out this nuance again. We did not lose last week's low on ES. Nasdaq did. Nasdaq has a very low probability of follow through if ES and RTY and YM all hold their lows from last week. The Nasdaq low may not get a ton of follow through. Okay, RTY, your levels. Support 1676.20, resistance 1703. Dow, resistance 29328. We're getting over this downtrend line. Support 28963. If you're interested in my chart setup, you can click on the link below in the video description to receive a PDF explanation as to what all these colors are and indicators are. VIX. VIX is coming down nicely. So, guess where else we have a megaphone, y'all? We should be getting good at these, huh? If we get a higher high over 33.99, this could still be a broadening formation up here with bulls really. Let's think about it. Let's go through what a broadening formation is again, okay? Higher high, higher low, higher high, lower low. Now, if the VIX bulls could get a higher high, what are they doing? They're using so much buying power to push this up, only to give it all back and then some. Using all this buying power to push it up, and then if we top out here just to roll over again. And it's happening often with the indices and VIX. So is this signs of slowing for the indices? Possibly. So if we had a low below 32.05 on VIX, that may be a viable dip. So just basically what I'm saying is watch for false signals in these broadening formations. Higher highs are not always achieved with great confidence. Lower lows are not always achieved by bears with great confidence. Okay. Let me go to bonds. I said bonds had to find a bottom. Bonds were closed yesterday. We've made enough room for a 4-hour higher low on ZB compared to 123.23. Your resistance 125.26. In order for this to get turned around, we need this daily lower high to be set. Super important. Super important. So we're losing our 4-hour low support levels. We're in an hourly downtrend. And now this is where bears could top fish 113.50 on any bounce, looking for that hourly lower high, attempting to nail the daily lower high. This is a Queen of the Mountain trade setup. Now we have a little tweezer bottom here at 112.856, 112.85. So a little double bottom attempt here by dollar. But I like when you're coming from a higher high dominance to lower low on the next bounce, that's typically a good odds for a lower high. Again, I talked to you about Annie Duke's book, Thinking in Bets, and I listened to a few more chapters yesterday. Oh my God, it's so good. That book is so good. And she talked about resulting. Resulting is when I'll have people come to me and say, I took 5 trades and I lost 4 of 5. Am I a bad trader? I don't know. That's just looking at your results. That doesn't look at the process. What was your decision making? Did you follow your decision making guidelines and your trade plan and proper discipline? If so, I ain't worried about four losses out of 5. I'm worried about the size. If the size is small, then you're fine. As long as you followed proper decision making. When you get 2 aces dealt to you and you look and no one else is, well, whatever, I shouldn't even speak to that because I'm such a new poker player. But if you don't act on that with high conviction, that's a problem. Your decision making is not lining up with the data you do have. We have all these data unknowns that we have no control over, and we accept those. We accept those through manageable losses. But don't define your trading career by your profits or losses. I would define it with what percentage of the time do you adhere to your decision making guidelines. Now, if you consistently lose over time, then you need to change your decision-making guidelines. Your strategy has a flaw in it. All right. I hope that helps. And I hope you read that book. All right. We talked about bonds. We talked about the dollar. Okay. Let's go talk about Bitcoin. Yes. For Commons TLT. Thinking in Bets, Annie Duke. Gosh, she's so good. She is ridiculous good. Her ideas that she conveys, I'm listening to it on like 1.5 speed. So I'm just ripping through it. And her thoughts are so clearly conveyed. I think this is an amazing book. And I have yet to hear her mention trading, but it doesn't have to because it applies to what we do so clearly. All right, Bitcoin, what did my notes say? Tested is holding daily support, 4-hour downtrend, and potential bear flag, hourly EMAs are overhead. Did that change? Yeah, we're bouncing enough. Let's see if we've negated that bear flag. Yeah, we've negated it. Bulls, in theory, have enough room for a 4-hour higher low. Let's see if they can get it. Let me go back and show you something. Look at that. This candle just open, so I really can't judge this third one, but this second one, on this pop, we have declining bull volume, so be careful out there. Hourly, we're over the EMAs. We have an hourly uptrend, and we have enough room for hourly higher low compared to 19028. Oh, good, Chris. I hope you like it. I really think you are. I think you're going to like it. Okay, Ethereum, hourly higher high. We've got an uptrend. 4-hour bear flag does not look negated on Ethereum. Yep, we're still in a potential bear flag below 1294. So just watch out, Ethereum bulls, and watch that volume. On flags, volume tells you, do you have a valid flag forming, a potential valid flag forming? It gives more credibility and validity to the bear flag concept when you have lower bull volume on the bounce. And these upper wicks of profit taking at the 8 EMA shows that bears are playing defense. Oh, awesome, Trey. You're like me. I have several credits built up. I need to get on the treadmill more or walk. When I walk, that's when I listen to Audible. Okay, gold. Gold has a decent setup today for an hourly higher low. See that ramp in volume? That's what bulls want to see. You heart that stuff. So with the dollar, potential hourly lower high, aiming for a daily lower high. while gold looking for hourly higher low, attempting to nail this daily higher low. Boom, boom. We have synergy. We have confluence. So this pullback is ugly. We pulled back almost 61%. So on the next bounce, we're looking for a daily lower high on the bounce, but I do think you have a decent long in gold this morning. Oil, I'm not going to forget this weekly 50 MA overhead. However, news headlines can continue to drive it and it not act technically like you think it is. We have enough room for a daily higher low. 4 hour on the next bounce. We talked about the short yesterday and I got stopped out at 93.37 yesterday when we were live. And I took it the short again successfully. So now I'm going to be looking to short 93.64 for a 4 hour lower high on the next bounce. And see how we're rejecting here at the 21 EMA and bears are playing defense. We do have elevated bull volume, but it's also time of day. People are starting to wake up. So elevated volume really doesn't mean as much. Yep, Gareth, I did Dixie out of order. So on dollar, I'm looking for this daily lower high compared to 114.778. And I said it's my Queen of the Mountain trade looking for an hourly lower high compared to 113.50. And I need to get some water. My throat is killing. Okay, nat gas. Hit that like button and I will get smarter. Every time you hit the like button, I get an IQ point added and I'll be smarter to help you. How about that? Deal? A 10-month-old. Oh, I miss those days. I know it's sleepless nights, but I still miss it. Okay, nat gas. Nat gas, we're looking for a monthly higher low. I'm looking for it to potentially hold this weekly 50 MA. And on the daily, I'm looking for a higher low compared to 6305. I forgot to mention API estimates are after hours at 4:30 Eastern today on oil, and inventories tomorrow at 10:30 Eastern. And all you TCGers, in 6 minutes, if there's a mass exodus and you go listen to Dan, I don't blame you. So it won't hurt my feelings at all. All right, so on nat gas, if you can't tell, I'm looking for a long on nat gas compared to 630. I don't know if it's going to work, but I'm looking for it. I want that the monthly higher low. I want that monthly higher low, and it would make sense for it to form in this area. Okay, Apple. Apple's looking for a monthly higher low compared to 129.04. Oh, I don't want to clear all that off. Yesterday, this level here, my rectangles, they worked. 141.60 is what 141.70 is what we were looking at for short. And don't you know that Apple went to 141.89? Doesn't it always do that? Goes a little bit lower than I was looking. Look, by 33 cents. Went a little higher by 19 cents and rejected. So what did I say about Apple? 137.69 is key for entire market potential hourly broadening formation. So let's think about it. Higher high, not a lot of follow through. Oh, wait, let's go back. Lower low, not a lot of follow through. Higher high, not a lot of follow through. Lower low, not a lot of follow through. Higher high, not a lot of follow through. If we break down below 138.57, close to this 137.69, as long as we hold 137.69, I'd like to try a long. But remember, any long idea I give you is a counter trend trade and will only work if the market can figure out its life and get a real bounce going, not no faux bounce, a real bounce. Amazon, I haven't been liking Amazon. EMA is dominating price. I would just look for bounces to short. Look at these hourly EMAs just dominating price. Bounces are for shorting on the 5 and 15-minute overbought. NVIDIA continues to slide down this 12-hour trend line. Again, don't come for me, police. Do this a little better, I'm sure. That's a little better. We're just sliding down this 12-hour trend line. We have a little bull divergence right here on RSI, y'all, but nothing. Complete apathy. Complete apathy. Actually, it's beyond apathy. Apathy means someone doesn't care. The bulls are apathetic and the bears are hungry. So overbought bounces are for shorting. Tesla. Overbought bounces are for shorting. Bears are just dominating this name. Look at the daily on this. So let me show you. NVIDIA feels really bearish, all right? So look at this and look at NVIDIA. At least NVIDIA has a slope to it, a 45-degree slope. Tesla? No. Let's go see if this comment's going to be correct. Every 15-minute bounce was for shorting. Y'all see that? How long has this been so? Y'all see that? 1, 2, 5, 6, 7, 8 times. 8 times. There will be a change in character one day, but until that changes, overbought conditions are for shorting on Tesla. And this is what I mean by simple. This is an example of going into Walmart, buying a fishing pole with the cork already on it, the hook already on it, the reel already on it, the fishing line on it, everything, the rod, and you just put a worm on it and go fish and you catch a fish. It can be that simple. And you say every Tesla 15-minute overbought condition, as long as it's in this major 4-hour downtrend, will be a shorting opportunity until it isn't. And you would be catching a fish. You would have caught a fish 7 or 8 times over the last week and a half. It can be that simple. It doesn't have to be super nuanced. I don't get super nuanced to confuse you. I get super nuanced to provide extra information to see if something clicks for you. Because Dan doesn't even use market internals, and he's the best trader I know. And market internals is one of the key edges I have in my toolkit. So it does vary by trader and what clicks for you. All right, Delta Airlines. Delta Airlines is a long shoot. It's already bouncing. It wasn't this far bounce. So American Airlines, they raised their guidance 13%. Y'all, this is a great opportunity. So listen to me here. They have earnings on Friday. So watch their options. They'll be probably juiced. So they have earnings Friday. So American Airlines, their first cousin, comes out and says, we are guiding up, was it 13%? 13% for third quarter. Wait. I don't know what this means. Basically, they guided up. Maybe I copied the wrong thing, but they guided up, American Airlines. So look at American Airlines. They're up 3.82%. They were up more. This may not work. American Airlines is giving a lot up here. So Delta may not benefit. But the goal or the thesis was, if American Airlines is guiding up, then Delta could possibly benefit as people anticipate that they will have an earnings beat on Friday. So this could still be a long if the market's bouncing. But right now, market's pulling back. There's just no reason to go trade along. I'm just giving you some for your back pocket in case you're interested. Google, they released about 5 headlines this morning, and they have a clear downtrend resistance on the hourly. And they have a squeeze. If they break through this downtrend resistance and the market is bouncing decent, this could be a good long. Could be. We need $95.56 to hold. Meta, again, I told y'all I'm finding trades if we get a bounce. If the market continues in the direction in which it has been going, then you just stay to the short side with indices. Meta, they have this hourly downtrend line as well that they're sliding down. They have Connect Day where they're rolling out their new virtual reality headset. So they have some headlines coming in. They may get a bounce. Did I mark off the next support? We're down in pre-COVID days. I would say 130 psychological, that's your next support. But let's see what Meta can figure out. These are lower lows over here, but RSI is not making lower lows. So Meta may have a good flush at open and then see if we could get a buyable dip if the market bounces. If not, you just stay with the short. Now, Piton, this is a short idea. Piton has been bouncing when the market has been pulling back. So relative strength, they had bearish news this morning. Their ex-CEO was getting repetitive margin calls from Goldman Sachs. That is not a current reflection of Piton business, so this may be news that doesn't affect Piton. But when I look at it, we're getting these little higher highs without a lot of follow through, and a weekly lower high is the more likely scenario. Let's see. I think a top fish against 915 makes sense for an aggressive bear, and a conservative bear would wait for price action closer to 942 to top fish Piton. AMD. AMD just continues to be weak. $48.42. So $50 is your next support. Yeah, $50 is your next support. So we're just in no man's land with these semiconductors. I want you to look. We got a lower low here. Do you see this? NVIDIA. Here is a higher low, and RSI is making a higher low right now on the daily. And when we open up, this may not be true, but price is making lower lows while RSI is making higher lows. So that's what I mean by bull divergence. But bulls have given you no reason. These red things drive me nuts. Bulls are giving you no reason to go long yet. So I wouldn't look at NVIDIA for a long unless the market is bouncing and we're clearly holding 114.08. I remember trading AMD at $4 in June of 2017. I remember sitting in the Walmart parking lot taking a loss on it. After market hours, yeah, July of 2016 right here. Isn't that funny, all the stuff you remember? I remember taking a loss on it and saying, dang it, I lost like $200. What that would have looked like, but we all have those stories. And I'll leave you with this. It's 7:03. I need to shut it up. I'll leave you with this. One of the most powerful things that you can begin to embrace in your trading journey is I don't know. These 3 words will, I want to be dramatic or use a little bit of hyperbole, but they will free you. You will experience freedom like you've never experienced before if you embrace 3 little words. I don't know. Accepting all outcomes in trading is one of the most powerful mind shifts that you can do. And my husband, it drives him nuts. He'll say, well, what do you think the market's going to do? I don't know. What do you think? I don't know. Like anything can happen. If he's asking me at 7 p.m. at night and Amazon is closed, the trading, I need to look at what's going to happen overnight. What does the chart look like tomorrow? Let's look at the weekly chart, and I could give you probabilities, but overall, I don't know. There's too much data. I don't know. I don't know who is the seller on the other side hitting the button if I'm looking to go long. So just embrace I don't know. It's very freeing. Use stop losses, folks, and hit that like button.